Hello, savages. What's going on, guys? It's 9:22 at night. So I said I was going to go out and do a workout today outside because my gym was closed. But I actually ended up finding another gym that we go to sometimes, and that wasn't closed. So went in there, got her done today. It was kind of a new gym, so I was kind of like self-conscious about filming. So I didn't do that today. Tomorrow I'm probably just going to say screw it and do it anyway. But just I don't know. I'm pretty stoked up. Not very fitnessy related, but we are going to get into some good fitnessy stuff today. Actually, I have a couple of things planned to talk to you guys about that I think are pretty relevant and pretty good. But first, me. No, I'm totally kidding. Kind of. I'm actually pretty revved up and pretty excited because Senya and I are coming up on our 90-day visa, and as temporary residents here, which we're not. We're actually tourists. We're on tourist visas, so every 90 days we have to leave the country, which is good, but it's also bad. It's good because it forces us to travel. So I mean, we've gone to San Blas, we've seen Nicaragua, and Sandy and I were thinking like, what are we going to do for our next little trip? And interestingly enough, we're looking at flights, and we didn't want to spend too much money. We wanted to spend a little bit of money, and we were looking at a bunch of different places. We love Panama, so we're thinking about going to the Panama. You can get a really nice suite at the Trump Hotel. It's like $100 a night, and it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful view of Panama. Panama is relatively cheap, cheaper than Costa Rica for sure, and it's also absolutely amazing. So a lot of culture, a lot of food, and I feel really safe in Panama City. I do. So I felt really safe when I was in San Blas, but of course it's a tourist area where those guys really benefit. Anyway, um, so we're looking around and we're just about to admit defeat, and we're just going to blast off and do a quick border run to Nicaragua when last minute Senya, who's like the master of traveling on a budget, found some flights to Guatemala for how much were they saying?
Combined, it was 330.
$330 to get both of us to Guatemala and back.
San Jose.
From San Jose. So we've got to make it to San Jose first, which is about 3.5, 4 hours away. Anyway, so that's super cool. We booked this weird little vacation place, which has got Wi-Fi. So I will be reachable when I'm gone, but it's off grid. It's actually on an island in the middle of this lake surrounded by volcanoes. And what's even cooler is my mother, who lives in Toronto, is going to come join us. And I love my mom. She's one of my biggest mentors in life. Like, whatever, mama's boy. I know, but she's a really incredible woman. Came from nothing, worked her ass off, and did pretty well for herself. So she's kind of one of my biggest inspirations. But she's going to be joining us, and it's literally, you have to take a boat to this place. And I think it was a massive, like, 5-bedroom villa, and we rented it for $200 a night. We're not going for very long because we have work to do, but we're going for about 4 days. It's about $200 a night, and this place is incredible. You have to take a boat. It's in the middle of nowhere. It runs on solar power, but it's still got Wi-Fi. And yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool. The good thing about Guatemala, unlike Nicaragua, is I can take the drones. So there's kayaks, and we'll get ourselves into all sorts of trouble. So that'll be a really good time. I'm super stoked about that. That's the latest and greatest that's happening with us. Um, so let's get into some fitnessy stuff. Getting that fitness ready. Okay, where to begin? I want to have a conversation with you guys before. You've probably heard people say like calories in equals calories out, right? So a lot of people, hear this. Calories in is calories out, man. All you have to do is uh, is eat some food and just eat underneath your allocated amount of calories, and you're good. You're good. You're gonna drop weight. Um, I'm here to tell you that I personally don't think that that's true, and I'm gonna explain why. Calories in is not calories out because, and this actually took me a long time to learn, and it's only something that I've really learned like in the last 3, 4 years. And in the last 3, 4 years, I've really learned how to manipulate my body to get it to where I want it to go very quickly because of this. And this is something that I want you guys to pay pretty close attention to. And for some of you guys, it's going to be really obvious. Some of you guys probably not. For me, it wasn't obvious for a long time. I never really started to nail my fitness and get into that, like, not like I'm not Mr. Pro, IFBB, Mr. Olympia, but I'm 34 years old. I'm in good shape. Um, and it's when I started to realize that calories in is not calories out. And the reason for that is hormones, right? I've talked to you guys a little bit about insulin, right? And your insulin levels. So when you consume sugar, right? Uh, your insulin levels spike, boom. And your insulin, of course, is that little beautiful hormone that a lot of people call the fat storage hormone inside of your body. So the truth of the matter is, if say your basal metabolic rate, the amount of calories that you have to burn in a day is that includes, your daily activity and includes your sleeping and includes your this and includes your that. Say your basal metabolic rate, your basal metabolic burn sits at 3,000 calories, right? So like that's no problem. All I have to do is I have to eat 2,500 calories a day and I'm good, right? 2,500 calories a day, that's it. That's all I need. So you go and, and you take 2,500 calories worth of sugar and you put it into a glass and you drink it throughout the day. I'm here to tell you that even if you consume 2,500 calories of sugar, which is the most basic carbohydrate, which immediately spikes your insulin, you're probably not going to lose weight because your body's going to go into this fat storage mode, right? Your insulin level's up and it's breaking up all these free fatty acids and then it's just snatching onto them. And it's not, eventually your liver gets full of glycogen and pushes as much glycogen into your muscles, right, as possible. And then it stops. And all of a sudden you got all this extra glycogen floating around your system. Where do you think that's going to go? It's going to get stored as fat. That's just how the body works, right? So it's not so much calories in, calories out. I think that's total horseshit, and a lot of science thinks that that's total horseshit too. And you should think that's horseshit as well because it is. You know what I mean? You got to eat complex carbohydrates. You got to get your protein in. If you're trying to cut, it's better to keep your fat a little bit lower. And I'm going to get into keto in a couple of seconds. Um, but the only way to really get yourself into that next level of shape is by being educated about the foods that you're eating. I mean, when I was younger, I was playing a lot of rugby. I think I was playing like 2 games a day. So I was playing rugby for like 4 hours a day. I was on the provincial team. I was on the school team. I was on the club team, and I was drinking like 4 liters of chocolate milk a day, and blah blah blah, and I started, I couldn't keep weight on me, but I was 18 years old with a metabolism through the roof, and I was probably doing I was probably burning 2,000 plus calories a day. And then I got older, and I was like, okay, I'm just gotta eat like a horse. I just gotta eat the crap out of this stuff, and I'm gonna get huge, and I'm gonna be shredded, and I'm gonna be lean. But I wasn't getting shredded. I was getting big. I was getting strong, but I wasn't getting lean. And the reason boils down to the selection of carbs that I was using. Right? As soon as you hit those simple carbs, as soon as you're eating that bread, as soon as you're eating that sugar, as soon as you're eating anything that's got a high glycemic index, which means that it readily converts to sugar, you're immediately telling your body, boom, store this. Your body goes into, okay, it's my job. You know what I mean? Insulin spikes, boom, 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 boom. It starts storing everything as fat. So calories in versus calories out, in my opinion, is absolute shit. And the quicker that you learn that, and the quicker that you start educating yourself on intelligent carb sources, the quicker you're going to be able to get your body to change. And the quicker you're going to be able to achieve that level of fitness that you really, really want. It's not so much about what you eat. It definitely has a lot to do with how much you eat, because even if you eat, if your basal metabolic rate is 2,500 and you're eating, 3,500, it's really clean food, it doesn't matter because you can only push so much glycogen, you can only use so much of that energy before it gets stored. So I'm also here to tell you another little secret. And the little secret is some of you guys have modified your meal plans, right? There's all these formulas and stuff that are put out by these scientists, and they're like, if you are 5'11" and you weigh this many pounds, you gotta, and you do this much activity, and whatever, then you need approximately this breakdown of carbohydrates. And this is the reason why I tell you guys that you need a meal plan. And this is the reason why I prescribe meal plans. And this is the reason why you can't just take some meal plan off of some guy who doesn't measure your results or doesn't take any of the leading indicators for feedback and just say, that's my meal plan because Johnny told me. The truth of the matter is that you're always going to need to dedicate, you're always going to need to, everybody's different. Everybody absorbs things differently. Everybody, excuse me, I'm just going to plug in my laptop or else it's going to die. Everybody absorbs foods differently. Everybody has different absorption rates. Everybody has different genetics. So the truth of the matter is that the only way that you're really going to find your metabolic rate and the only way that you're actually going to find a meal plan that works for you is by being precise in the way that you track your macros and then making adjustments based on what you're eating. And that's why following a meal plan is so important. That's why being consistent with a meal plan is so important, because ultimately nobody's body functions the same way. And people will feed you shit all day, and people will try to sell you like, this is your meal plan and this is how it works and you're going to get lean. And then, what do they do, what do they do when it doesn't work? Oh, well, that's because, and then you start making up. The truth of the matter is you got to figure out, you got to start somewhere. Then you figure out, okay, you start taking measurements, you follow your meal plan to a T, so you have something to give you that feedback loop, so you have some way to be able to improve. And when you really start measuring these things and you start finding your parameters for what works for your body, because everybody's body is different, and you start putting measurements, then you can start making adjustments. And that's something that I've done with a few of you guys. I've made adjustments. I've said, okay, well, this is this and that's that, because there is no solid plan. Everybody's different. That's the beautiful thing about biology. We're all freaking different. And we don't all process carbs the same way. We all have different absorption rates. Did you know that people of different ethnic backgrounds have more digestive tract than other people? And this is scientifically proven. Feel free to Google that. Feel free to get some information on that. But your ethnic background can determine the amount of actual intestine that you have, which means that the longer the intestine that you have, probably the better your absorption is ultimately going to be. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that's the reason why it's so important that we stick to these meal plans and that we continue to eat the same thing every week, so that we can make measurements and we can make changes and we can make little tweaks here and there, and we can kind of see how you're doing. We're going to find out what your basal metabolic rate is, and then we can adjust, and it's that simple. So I'm going to leave you with that one as well today. I'm also going to quickly touch on keto here, and I'm going to tell you guys why I am not a huge fan of keto. Okay, what is keto? Ketosis, right? Your body goes into a state of ketosis when you begin to burn up all the carbohydrates in your body. So you'll see a lot of guys and a lot of gurus online. They're like, ketosis is the way. And you know what? Here is my opinion, and be aware that this is just an opinion. This doesn't mean it doesn't mean shit. Sorry, I know I'm swearing again. It doesn't mean shit, and it doesn't mean shit because it's just based on my experience. My experience can be different than everybody else's experience, but I've been asked by a few of you guys, hey Matt, what do you think about keto? What are your opinions on keto? Here's the truth about keto. Keto is, it's a great theory for me because I would love to be able to eat mostly fat and cream and bacon and just saturated fats, right? And saturated fats are an important fuel source. But when you completely cut out all your carbs, you don't cut out all your carbs, as we talked about the other day, you don't cut out your fiber, right? Your fiber is vegetables. Anything that's not going to be digested in your body and anything that's not going to spike your insulin, you can keep. So you can keep your veggies or whatever else, but a lot of the time these guys are eating saturated fats, and that's awesome. Their protein is a little bit lower and their carbs are usually very, very low. And the reason why I don't use ketosis is because I've gone into a ketogenic state when I've gone to do photo shoots. So if I'm going to do a photo shoot, I cut carbs for 3-4 days before, and I'm just living off of pretty much vegetables and protein. And here's what I know about ketosis. The transformation from using carbohydrates to fats as the fuel for your body is a really shitty thing to go through. And here's why. Because as your body starts to make that change and starts to use the fats to begin to process them, it really messes with your mind. you start getting a little bit slower, and eventually your body clicks in, and you switch over, and things become a little bit clearer. But getting to that state of ketosis where you're eliminating your carbs and you're eating more fats it's painful on the brain. I notice that whenever I'm cutting for a photo shoot, I get a little slower. Things take a while for me to process, and I lose my energy. And I start talking really, really slow, which might be a good thing because I think maybe sometimes I talk really fast. But it's not a good thing on my brain. Here's the deal about ketosis. It's amazing for losing fat. If you're extremely overweight and your sole goal is weight loss and you want to eat butter and you want to have cream and you want to eat a bunch of crap, then it's not crap, because the truth of the matter is saturated fats aren't the enemy. Carbs aren't the enemy. Sugar and inflammation is the enemy. Anyway, you want to eat a bunch of fats, that's cool. I get it. But if you slip up at all, if you go to have a drink, a coffee at a shop, and maybe they put in sugar, you know what I mean? Or they just put in that extra amount of carbs, your body immediately switches back to processing carbs, and then you have to go through this whole like 2-3 day mind-numbing process again. I also find that for building muscle, for me and for a lot of the stuff that I've done with clients, depending on your physiology, I do have some guys who are on ketosis, not in this program, but I do have some guys who are on ketosis because it just fits their lifestyle. Sometimes they have gluten allergies, sometimes they just don't like carbs. But as soon as you consume a little bit of carbs, whether that's accidental, whether you go out and have a few drinks with the boys, whatever it may be, instantly, boom, you're in that space where you're going to go through that like 2 day, just slow transition. And I also find that the best thing for building muscle and the best thing for fueling my workouts are complex carbohydrates. Not simple carbs, but complex carbohydrates that break down slowly, don't spike my insulin, and just regulate and give me lots of energy, and I feel better. So once again, ketosis is a good tool. I don't know too many bodybuilders who use ketosis for prolonged amounts of time. And I think that's for the reason that I said. It's very easy to slip up and have to go into ketosis again. And I also think that it just feels better with carbohydrates. So that's my own personal opinion. Things will vary. Once again, ketosis is great for losing fat. I don't find it very effective for putting on muscle. I don't find it very effective for fueling my workouts. And then if I slip up and I go and have a beer or two with the boys, all of a sudden my carbs are through the roof and I've got to go through 2 days of absolute insanity again, right? So that's why I prefer to use complex carbohydrates. Calories in, not calories out, as we just talked about. And that's the way that I think most people respond best to. I will use keto in extreme situations if nothing else is working. I have done it, and I've done it successfully. But generally speaking, carbs. And this, once again, you know what I mean? Calories in, calories out, not so much. And that's why I need you guys to do your best to stick to your meal plan so we can find some metrics. Because you don't just, bam, this is the formula, this is what you need to eat, this is how you're going to progress. You need to make changes. Everybody's different. And if you're not being honest with yourself, you're not being honest with me, which I think a lot of you guys are, if not all of you guys are, because there's nobody who's not doing well here. Everybody's made good changes. Some dropped a lot of weight. Some haven't dropped so much weight, but their body is changing really well too. And some guys have put on weight, which is awesome as well, right? Nice lean muscle, but it's got to be done in a certain way. It's easy to put on fat and do the dirty bulk and whoa, but the truth of the matter is that it's just fat. It's not muscle. You might have an appearance of looking a little bit thicker, but when you take this all away, you're going to find out that it was just fat, right? The way to get that appearance of being big is to build nice, lean muscle through complex carbohydrates. That's my rant. 18 minutes and 30 seconds. I love you guys. You're kicking ass. We got check-ins coming up in a couple of days. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited too. And got this haircut just for you guys. Pretty slick. Got rid of the gray. Thank God. Have a great night. I talk too much. We'll see you guys soon. Bye. Ugh.